to forest and wildlife resources. So start. We share this planet with millions of other living beings, starting from microorganisms and bacteria, leaching to banyan trees, elephant and blue whales. This entire habitat that we live in has immense biodiversity. We humans, along with the all living organisms, form a complex web ecological system in which we are only a part and very much dependent on the system for our own existence. For example, the plant and animal and microorganism recreated the quality of air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil we produce our food, without which we cannot survive. Forests play a key role in the ecological system, as these are also the primary producer on which all other living beings depend. Flora and fauna in India. If you look around you, we will be able to find that there are some animals and plants which are unique in your area. In fact, India is one of the world's largest country in terms of its vast array of biological diversity and has nearly 8% of the total number of species in the world, estimate to be 1.6 million. This is possibly twice or thrice the number yet to be discovered. The you have already studied in detail about the extent and variety of forest and wildlife resources in India. You may have realized that the importance of these resources in our daily life. These diverse flora and fauna are so well integrated in our daily life that we take these for granted. But lately, you are under great stress, many due to the unsensitivity to the our environment. Some estimates suggested that at least 10% of the India's record with wild flora and fauna and 20% of its mammals are on the threatened list. Many of these would now be categorized as critical, that is on the verge of extinction, like cheetah, pink-headed duck, mountain quails, forest spotted outlet, and plant like Maduchua is in sciences a wild variety of maua and Hubardia heptaneuron, a species of grass. In fact, no one can say how many species may have already been lost. Today, we only talked of the larger and the more visible animal and plants that have become extinct, but about a smaller animal like insect and plant. Vanishing forest, the diminutions of deforestation in India are staggering. The forest cover in the country is estimated at 78.29 million hectare, which is 23.81% of the total geographical area. Dense forest 12.30%, open forest 8.75%, and mangrove 0.14%, according to the state of the forest report 2011. The dense forest cover has increased by 10,098 square kilometers since 1997. However, this apparent increase in the forest cover is due to plantation by different agencies. The state of the forest report does not differentiate between natural forest and the plantations. Therefore, this report fails to relieve. Let us now understand the different category of existing plant and animal species based on the International Union for Conservation of Natural Resources (IUCN). We can classify as follow: normal species whose population level are considered to be normal for their survival, such as cattle, sal, pine, rodent, etc. Endangered species, those species are which are in danger of extinction. The survival of such species is difficult if the native factors that have lead to the decline in their population continue to operate. The example of such species are black bucks, crocodiles, Indian wild ass, Indian rhino, lion-tailed macaque, Sangai, Brau, and enter deer in the Manipur etc. Vulnerable species, these are the species who are populated has declined to level from where it is likely to move into endangered category is near the future if the negative factor continued to operate. The example of such species are blue sheep, Asiatic elephant, Gangetic dolphin, etc. Rare species, species with a small population may move into endangered or vulnerable category it if the negative factor affecting them continue to operate. The example of such species are the Himalaya-born bear, wild Asiatic buffalo, desert fox, and hornbills, etc. Endemic species. These are species which are only found in some particular area, usually isolated by the natural or geographical barriers. Example of such species are the Andaman teal, Nicobar pigeon, Andaman wild pig, Mithun in Arunachal Pradesh. Extinct species. These are the species which are not found after searches of known for largely likely area where they may occur. A species may extend from a local area, region, country, continent, or the entire earth. Example of such species are the Asiatic cheetah, pink duck, Asiatic cheetah. Where did they go? The world fastest land mammal, the cheetah, Echinoinyx juvenatus is a unique and specialized member of the cat family and can move at a speed of 112 km per hour. The cheetah is often mistakenly for a leopard. Its distinguishing mark are the long teardrop shaped lines on each side of the nose from the corner of its eyes to its mouth. Prior to the 20th century, cheetah were widely distributed throughout Africa and Asia. Today, the Asian cheetah is nearly extinct due to the decline of available habitat and the prey. The species was declared extinct in 19 declined in the India along back in 1952. What are the negative factors that cause such fearful depletion of the flora and fauna? If you look around, you will be able to find how we have transformed nature into resource obtaining directly and indirectly from the forest and wildlife, wood, bugs, leaf, rubber, medicine, dyes, food, fuel, fodder, manure, etc. So if it is we ourselves who have depleted our forest and wildlife. The greatest damage inflicted on our Indian forest were during the colonial period due to the expansion of the railway, agriculture, and commercial and scientific forestry and mining activities. Even after independence, agriculture expansion continued to be one of the major cause of the depletion of the forest resources between 1951 and 1980s. According to the Forest Survey of India, over 26,200 square kilometer of the forest area was converted into agriculture land all over the India. The sustainable part of the tribal belt, especially in the northern, eastern, central India, has been deforested or degraded by the shift cultivation, jhum, a type of slash and burn agriculture. Our colonial forest policies to be blamed. Some of our environment activists say that the promotion of few favored species in many parts of India has been carried throughout the ironically termed enrichment plantation, in which a single commercially valuable species are extensively planted and other species eliminated. For instance, teak monoculture has damaged the natural forest in the South India, and the cheer pine, Pinus roxburghii plantation in the Himalayas have replaced the Himalayan oak, Quercus, rhododendron forest. Large-scale development projects have also contributed significant to loss of forest since 1951. Over 5,000 square kilometer of forest was cleared for river valley project. Clearing of forest is still continue with a project like the Narmada Sagar project in Madhya Pradesh, which would indicate 40,000 hectare of forest. Mining is another important factor. Banned deforestation. The Buxa Tiger River Reserve in West Bengal is seriously threatened by the ongoing dolomite mining. It has distributed the natural habitat of many species and blocked the migration route of the several other, inclined the Indian elephant. Many forest and environmentalists hold the view that the greatest degradation factor behind the depletion of the forest resources are grazing and fuel wood collection through there may be some substance in their argument yet. The fact remains that the substantial part of the fuel fodder demand is met by the looping rather than the by felling centers entirely. The forest ecosystem are repository of some of the country most valuable forest product minerals and other resources that meet the demand of the rapid expansion industries urban economy. These protected areas thus means different thing of the different people, and therein lies the fertile ground for the conflict. Himalayan yak in the trouble. The Himalayan yak Texas China is a medicine plant found in the various part of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. A chemical compound called the taxol is extracted from the bark, needle, twig, and root of the tree, and has been successfully used to treat some cancers. The um, drug is used a biggest selling anti-cancer drug in the world. The species is under the great threat due to the overexploitation in the last 1 decade. Thousands of your tree are have dried up in the various part of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. Habitat destruction, hunting, poaching, overexploitation, environment pollution, poisoning, and forest fires are factors which lead to the decline in India's biodiversity. Other important causes of environmental destruction are unequal access, inequality, inequitable consumption of resources, and differentiate sharing of responsibility for the environment well-being. Overpopulation is a third world countries is often treated as a cause of the environmental degradation. However, in the average American consumes 40 times more resources than the average Somalian. Similarly, the richest 5% of the Indian society probably cause more ecological damage because of the amount they consume than the poorest 25%. The farmers share minimum responsibility for the environmental well-being. The question is who is consuming what, from where, and how much. The destruction of forest and wildlife is not just a biological issue. And the biological loss is strongly correlated with the loss of cultural diversity. Such losses have increasingly marginalized and improvised many indigenous and the other forest dependent communities who directly depend on various components of the forest and wildlife for food, drink, medicine, culture, spirituality, etc. Within the poor, women are affected more than men. In many societies, women bear the major responsibilities of collection of fuel, fodder, water, and other basic subsistence need. As these resources are depleted, the degree of women increase, and sometimes they have to walk for more than 10 kilometers to collect these resources. These causes serious health problems for women and negligence of the home and the children because of increasing houses of work, which often has serious social implications. The indirect impact of degradation such as drought or deforestation induced flood etc also hit the poor the hardest. Poverty in these causes is a directly outcome of environmental destruction. Therefore, forest and wildlife are the vital to the quality of life and environment in the subcontinent. It is imperative to adapt to sound forest and wildlife conservative strategies. Conservation of the forest and wildlife in India. Conservation in the background of a rapid decline in the wildlife population and forestry has become essential. But why do we need to conserve our forest and wildlife? Conservation preserve the ecological diversity and our life support system, water, air, and soil. It is also preserve the genetic diversity of plant and the animal for the better growth of species and breeding. For example, in agriculture, we are still dependent on the traditional crop variety. Fisheries are too heavy dependent on the maintenance of aquatic biodiversity. In the 1960s and 1970s, conservatives demanded in the National Wildlife Protection Program. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 with the various provisions for the protecting habitat. An all India list of the protected species was also published. The trust of the program was toward the protecting the remaining population of certain endangered species by banning hunting, legal protection to their habitat, and the restriction and trade in wildlife. Subsequently, central and many state government established national park and wildlife sanctuaries, about which you have already studied. The central government also announced several projects for the protecting species animal specific animal which were gravely and threatened, included the tiger, the one-horned rhinoceros, the Kashmir stag, or the hornbill. Three types of crocodile: freshwater crocodile, saltwater crocodile, gharial, the ascetic one, and the other most recently the Indian elephant, black buck, chinkara, the great Indian bustard, Godawan, and the snow leopard etc. has been given full or the partial legal protection against hunting and trade throughout India. The conservation projects are now focusing on biodiversity rather than on a few of its components. There is a now is a more intensive search for the different conservation measures. Increasingly, even insects are the beginning to find a place in conservation planning. In the notification under Wildlife Act of 1918 and the 1986, several thousand butterflies, moth, beetles, and one dragonfly have been added to the list of protected species. In 1991, for the first time, plant were be added to the list. Started with six species. Project Tiger. Tiger is one of the key wildlife species in the funnel web. In 1973, the authorities released that the tiger population has dwindled in to 1,827 from an estimate of 55,000 at the turn of the century. The major threat to the tiger population was numerous, such as poaching for the trade, shrinking habitat, depletion of prey, base species, growing of human population, etc. The trait of its tiger skin and use of their bones in the traditional medicine, especially in the Asian countries, left the tiger population on the verge of the extinction. Since India and Nepal provide habitat to about two-thirds of the surviving tiger population in the world, these are the two nations become prime target for poaching and illegal trading. Project Tiger is one of the well published sorry, popularized wildlife campaign in the world. Was launched in 1973. Initially, it showed success as the tiger population went to up to 4,002 in 1985, 4,334 in 1989, but in 1993 the population of tiger had dropped to 33,600. There are 39 tiger reserves in India covering an area of 32,137.14 square kilometer. Tiger conservation have been viewed not only as an effort to save an endangered species but with the equal importance as a mean of the preserving biotype of the sizable magnitude. Mm, Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, Sundarban National Park in West Bengal, बंधवगढ़ नेशनल पार्क in Madhya Pradesh, Sarska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan, Manas Tiger Reserves in Assam, and Periyar Tiger Reserve in Kerala are the some of the tiger reserves of India. The types and distribution of forest and wildlife resources. Even if we want to conserve our vast forest and wildlife resources, if it is rather difficult to manage, control, and regulate them in India. Much of its forest and wildlife resources are either owned or managed by the government through the forest department or the other government department. These are classified under the following categories. First, reserve forest. More than half of the total forest land has been declared reserved. reserve forests are the regarded are the most valuable as far as the conservation of the forest and wildlife resources are concerned. Second, protected forest. Almost one third of the total forest area is it is protected forest as declared by the forest department. This forest and land are the protected from any further depletion. Third, an classed forest. These are the other forest and waterland belonging to the both government and private individual. The community reserved and the protect forest are the also referred to as a permanent forest estate maintained for the purpose for producing timber and other forest produce and for the protection reason. Madhya Pradesh has the largest area under permanent forest constituting 75% of its total forest area. Jammu Kashmir, Andhra Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and Maharashtra have large percent of reserve forest of its total forest area, whereas Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan have a bulk of it under protected forest. All the northeastern states are and the part of Gujarat have a very high percentage of their forest as unclassed forest managed by the local community and conservation strategies are not new in our country. We often ignore that in India forests are also home to some of the traditional communities. In some areas of India, local communities are struggling to conserve their habitat along with the government official recognizing that only they this will survive their own long time livelihood. In Sarikara Tiger Reserve, Rajasthan, villages have fought against the mining by the city. The Wildlife Protection Act in many areas, villagers themselves are protecting habitat and explicitly rejecting government and involvement in the inhabit sorry in the inhabitant of five villages in the Alwar district of Rajasthan has declared 1,200 hectare of the forest as the Bhairdev Dakav Sanctuary. Declare their own set of rules and regulations which do not allow hunting and are protecting the wildlife against the any outside encroachments. Scare grove, a wealth of diverse and rare species. Nature worship is an age-old tribal belief based on the premise that all creation of the nature have to be protected. Such beliefs have preserved several virgin forests in the Stein from called scared groups, the forest of god and goddess. These patches of forest or part of the large forest have been left untouched by the local people, and any interference with them is banned. Certain societies revere a particular tea which they have preserved from time immemorial. The Mudas and the Santhal of the Chota Nagpur region worship Maua, Vaisai, Lati Fulua, and the Kadamba Anthrocapulos. Kadampa tree and the tribal of Odisha and Bihar worship Tamarind, Tarimindus indica, and the mango magniferias indica tree during the wedding. Too many of us, the people, and the banyan tree are considered scared. Uh, Indian society comprises several cultures, each with its own sets of tradition, method of conserving nature, and its creation scared qualities and often ascribed to spring mountain peaks, plant and animal which are closely protected. You will find troops of macaques and the langurs around many temples. They are fed daily the fame and treated as a part of temple devotee in the around Bisnoi village in Rajasthan. Herd of black bucks, chinkara, nilgai, and the peacock can be seen as an integral part of the community, and no one harm them. The famous Fuchuku movement in the Himalayas has not only successful resistance deforestation in several areas but also has shown that community afforestation with indigenous species can be an enormously successful attempt to revive the traditional conservation method or developing new method of ecological farming are now widespread. Farmers and citizen groups like the Bej Bachao Andolan in Tehri and the Navadhyana have shown adequate level of diversified crops production without the use of synthetic chemical are possible and ecological viable in India. Joint Forest Management (JFM) program furnishes a good example for involving local communities in the management and restoration of degradation. The program has been formal action since 1988 when the state of Odisha passed the first resolution for the Joint Forest Management (JFM) depend on the formation of local villages institute that undertake protection activities mostly on the degraded forest land managed by the Forest Department. In return, the member of these community are entitled to intermediary benefit like non-timber forest produce and share in the timber harvested by successful protection. The clear lesson from the dynamic of both environmental destruction and the reconstruction in the India is that the local communities everywhere have to be involved in some kind of natural resources management, but there is still long way go before local communities are at a center stage at a decision making, except only those economic or developmental activities that are the people centric, environmental friendly, and economically rewarding. And I think our chapter is now completed. The tree is a perishable organism of unlimited kindness and benevolence, and make no demand for its sustenance and extend generously the product of its life. Effectively, it afford protection of all beings, offering shades even to an X-Men who destroy it. Gautam Buddha, 487 BC. And our chapter is now completed. I hope you understand this chapter very well.